What's up, guys? It's Will back again, and today we're here to do a very important preview video. We're talking about Carnage. Not just any Carnage, the Carnage from Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I guess you could say the titular character. So I'm not sure if it's titular. I'm pretty sure it's titular character. We're gonna go with that. Sounds kind of dirty, but we're gonna go with it. Carnage Deluxe version, guys. We've been anticipating this one for a little while now. We got a little small Carnage that people were not so excited with. A mini Venom Carnage, one could say. But we got real Carnage now, and there's a lot of anticipation and hype for this figure. So let's take a look at it today. Guys, we have a deluxe version. We have a collector's version. We're going to get into both of those. There's not really many differences. All things said equally, there's really only one difference, but nonetheless, one of those differences is price. So we're looking at $510 US for this figure, plus shipping, plus tax, depending upon where you order from. More on that later. It's a little high, but I do feel like, based on what this figure is, that it's not totally unreasonable. We're getting pretty high for Hot Toys prices now, but this guy is pretty beefy. He's about 17 inches tall. He's got a lot of accessories. He's got a lot of tendrils and tongues and a Venom bust, obviously. So you get an extra head sculpt with a Venom bust. That's pretty cool. So there is a lot that comes with this figure. There are ways to shop around and get the price down on this one because it is pretty high. But first things first, as far as the price goes, it's a little high, but I don't think it's totally out there and unreasonable. I don't think this is a totally like over the top overpriced by any stretch. I think this is one that's maybe slightly overpriced, but with Hot Toys prices the way they are nowadays, the hype anticipation for this figure, how big he is, the accessories it comes with, the fact that he comes with a Venom bust, that's when you're looking at a high price. I mean, without the Venom bust, you're looking at $445. That's not too unreasonable considering the precedent that was set for Venom at $407, and he's actually a much smaller figure in comparison, in terms of height at least. So new body, bigger figure, so not totally unfounded, but nonetheless, it's a little high nonetheless. So it's a big pill to swallow for Hot Toys collectors who aren't used to paying these type of prices unless you're getting quarter scale Hot Toys. So nonetheless, let's take a look at what this figure comes with. Okay, this is the main thing, one of the biggest things that people care about. This is the one, the Eddie Brock / Venom sculpt that only comes with the deluxe version of Carnage. Interesting choice to include this with Carnage instead of a Venom figure, but nonetheless, if you have the original Venom figure, which I have gone back and pre-ordered the original Venom figure now because I've seen the film, my review is in progress, almost done. I enjoyed it. I think it's good. I don't think it's perfect. It's a great improvement on the first one, which I did not like very much, but honestly, I'm just going to throw this out there. I would say that if you want Venom, I would go ahead and get the first one. Don't buy into FOMO. So if you don't want Venom, don't get him. But if you do want a Venom, I would say go with the first one, because let's just say there's not significant differences in the second film to warrant you waiting, unless they come out with something with the second Venom, which they may have teased with the new base and all that, would warrant you waiting. But if you really want a Venom, I say pick up the first one while you can. If you don't really care about a Venom, then don't. So, but nonetheless, this sculpt is really, really cool. I almost wish this just came with the first Venom, but the fact that we're getting it at all, I'm happy about. So I'm not going to complain. So it's a cool accessory to throw with Carnage. A little bit odd. I don't think I've really seen that before. A sculpt that you can use on another figure that comes with another figure. Pretty interesting. Maybe Hot Toys experimenting, who knows? But pretty cool what you can do with this bust, right? You can display different Venom heads on there, display different looks. That's pretty cool. I like that. So you're gonna have options, you're gonna have variety, right? You get 2 head sculpts with this guy. That's pretty great. You get like a little symbiote sword there, 2 different versions. You get a lot of tentacles that you can attach to his back. You get a lot of different like sort of sharp edges and tongues. So there is a lot that comes with this figure, no doubt about it. It looks good, guys. It really does. I'm really happy with this because the paint looks very dirty and slimy and gross, and that's kind of the whole point of Carnage. He's an alien, right? He's meant to look kind of like Venom, but maybe even more slimy and gross because of the color. So for me, I think this paint job looks really good. I really like how much presence this figure has. Nonetheless, the sculpt also looks really good. The eyes there, right? The teeth, very scary looking, very intense. I really like that. I don't think this is going to be one of those figures that you're going to press a significant other with. This is probably not the one, guys. But if you don't give a shit about that and you only care about getting something that you like, which is what you should do anyway, then you should get this as long as you like Carnage. One thing I think people are going to want to talk about is the shoulder seams and the arm joints. They are visible, as you can see. These are jointed elbows, and they are, shoulder seams there. It's not like a Hellboy type body, seamless or anything. If there were any figure to do this with, I think it's this one, because I think with the way the character actually looks, with all of his sliminess and symbioteness, for lack of a better term, gooiness, I think this actually works. I think this looks pretty seamless for the most part. You know, there are definitely joints here and there that you can see, but honestly, from a distance, you can't even really tell. I honestly think this is a good choice for this figure because it blends in so well. And I think Hot Toys probably experimented with different outcomes and, you know, different materials, things like that, and said, hey, like, we can do this guy jointed and do it well and blend it in. And I think they've done that. Venom, pretty good. You know, he has the shoulder joints and all that kind of stuff. But if you put joints on a Venom, I feel like they'd be a little bit more noticeable. So I like the choices they made here in design to go with a more jointed, you know, not seamless Carnage. But with Venom, besides the shoulders, you know, we got seamless elbows here, which is really nice. Everything blends in really well with that Venom. But I think the biggest thing is seeing how tall this Carnage is compared to Venom. I guess I just didn't notice that in the film. I guess I just didn't pick up on how much bigger Carnage is in height than Venom. Venom's a lot bulkier. He's more of a beefy boy, but Carnage is taller. So significantly taller for that matter. So, but you guys, you could put these two guys in like a diorama type pose like this. Very cool. You could put them in a fighting pose. This looks really great. And I think Hot Toys really did nail this one. This is, I think, one of the better figures I've seen from them in a while because it's so unique looking. It has so much presence. The sculpt is really amazing. I love the paintwork on this. I love the details. I think this figure is just going to be really cool. Like, look at that. Imagine that on your shelf. It's going to take up some space, so prepare yourself. You know, if you're going to put him in a dynamic pose like this, he's going to take up a lot of space. So you got to prepare yourself when you're thinking about that, adding it to your collection. But nonetheless, it looks really good. There's so many things you can do with this guy. And the fact that he comes with a Tom Hardy head sculpt that's like a transitionary head sculpt between Venom and Eddie Brock, I think that's really cool. I wish it came with the first one, but nonetheless, beggars can't be choosers, right? We're not going to complain. So the difference between this one and the deluxe is simply the head sculpt. So it really comes down to, do you have a Venom? Do you have the Venom rather? If you do, then I would say 100% get the deluxe. It's worth the extra, what is it? $445 to $510. That's like what? Like 65, 70 bucks. I think it's worth it for that. I think that head sculpt is worth more than that. So because it's very unique on the aftermarket, if people are going to want to pick this head sculpt up, just the head sculpt, I think it's going to cost you more than that. So long story short, I think that if you do own a Venom, it's worth it. Or if you just want a Venom bust, if you just want a Venom bust with that Tom Hardy head sculpt, then it's worth it. You know, if you don't and you only care about Carnage and you don't really give a shit about the Venom, you know, which would be pretty unique. I think most people are probably going to want both. But if you only want Carnage, then I'd say pass and get the regular version. But for me, I'd say 95% of people are going to get the deluxe. It's almost deluxe or bust because this accessory is one of those that I feel like is super hard to miss out on. Like, you can't miss out on this one, in my opinion, just because it's such a cool head sculpt. It's unique. It goes on the Venom figure. You can just plop it on the body. It'll look really cool. I honestly think that would look really cool on the Venom figure. So nonetheless, you know, if you get this through Sideshow, you're looking at $510 plus tax, plus shipping. Since he's a big figure, he's just under 17 inches tall, 16.9 inches, right? That's pretty big. You're on like Thanos height at that point. So Thanos is a pretty big, beefy boy. So, you know, it's a pretty big figure. So shipping on this one could be expensive. And you're looking at tax on $510. I mean, depending on which state you live in, you know, you're probably looking at $30, $40 of tax at minimum, right? So, you know, that's it, you know, shipping out the door, you're probably looking $580. You're looking damn near $600, right? But you know, it's a hefty price for Carnage, but if you love Carnage, it's probably worth it, right? But it's still expensive for Hot Toys. It's a 1/6 figure after all. But nonetheless, let's look at some options here. I've bought from Pop Culture Zone a few times. They've always been good to me. I've always had good experiences for the most part. So they always discount their figures by like 10%. So you're looking at $469 plus shipping. The shipping for me, I live in Maryland. Shipping to me from them in New Jersey is like $10. So I'm saving a lot of money if I go through Pop Culture Zone, right? They're a good company to go through. Alter Ego Comics is another good company. $510. So they're charging you exactly retail and the shipping is free. So I actually pre-ordered mine through Alter Ego Comics. I've bought a bunch of stuff from them. Always had good experiences. And they do get things not a little bit later. I mean, all these companies get their stock from Sideshow. So, you know, they're getting something slightly later than most companies. But honestly, guys, when you're talking about an expensive figure like this, sometimes it's good to wait if you can reduce the price a little bit. If you can reduce the price and keep things more manageable so you can buy other figures, it's worth it because, you know, why do we need things first all the time? Sometimes that's not always what we need, right? If we can wait and save some money to buy more figures, it's worth it. If the price is right for first batch, then it's worth it. I'd say go for it. But in this figure's case, I don't think it is, just from what I've seen so far. I don't think this is one of those first batch figures that's really worth it. But to each their own. Some people will think it is. If you really want Carnage that early, go for it. But to me, I think this is one worth waiting on. Comic Concepts, another really good retailer. I've had really good experiences with Josh. So he has really good customer service and good prices. So you're looking at $4.90. So you're looking at $20 off plus shipping. You might, like I said, you might be looking at $30 shipping. None of these sites charge tax. So that's pretty great because you're not getting charged anything on top of what you already paying for regular, just the cost of the figure, base cost plus the shipping, right? So you're not getting charged tax like you are with Sideshow or other places you might buy from. So there are options, guys. So shop around, consider your options, and think about this figure. For me, this is a buy. I think this is a really badass looking figure. I'm really excited for it. I'm getting the Venom from the first film. I'm going to pair them together, and I'm really excited to add them to my Marvel display. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below about these two figures. I'm really excited to see how this shapes up and, you know, what, you know, how it actually turns out in the final product. But nonetheless, I think it's going to look great. I think people are going to be really happy with it. I think this is a big announcement and people are already excited and amped for this figure. Probably even more so than they were the Venom, which is crazy. But yeah, Carnage looks really cool. So I'm really excited about it. Nonetheless, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this figure. We can talk more about it, and be on the lookout for my Venom 2 Let There Be Carnage review, movie review. That's coming out probably this Sunday. I'm in the process of working on it. It's almost done, so hopefully sooner, but if not, should be out Sunday sometime. So be on the lookout. That's all for now, guys. I will catch you in the next video.